Hey everybody, Little Mo Gaming here. Welcome back to another episode. It has been a while for sure this time. It's been a few weeks since I've uploaded one of these, and I think the last thing I uploaded was some Little Mo plays where I was playing the Neo 3 demo and Pragmata. And believe it or not, I've actually recorded for this kind of video maybe two or three times since then, but I just haven't been able to put anything together or upload anything. So apologies for the delay. But here I am. We're back. I'm very happy to be back on the mic talking about video games. And yeah, I mean, when it boils down to it, life has been busy. It just has. I mean, ever since I moved into this new apartment and ever since Ramadan started. The last time I recorded was, I think, like 2 days after Ramadan started, and now we're about 2 weeks into Ramadan, a little more than that. So it's been some time, but I'm here and I'm ready to talk about some video games. There has been a lot of action in the industry and news and updates on games that I've been playing, and I'd love to hear from you what games you've been playing. So definitely, hit that like button, comment below, let me know, and let's get into it. So, since the last time I released one of these episodes, we've had the Sony State of Play, and I did try to talk about it the last time I recorded this, but it's long overdue now. I'm not going to get into details on that. To cut it short, it was a cool State of Play, a lot of cool games announced. I don't even remember the full list, but at this point, unless you're living under a rock, you already know the gist of it. So we'll move on from that. But the biggest news right now has been some Sony and Xbox stuff. At least that's what I think is the biggest thing in the industry going on right now, in my opinion. Of course, since then, Highguard released, and Highguard was, I mean, that came and went, right? I mean, I think it's due to be pulled offline in a few days here on March 12th. Very, very, I mean, very expected. Unfortunately, it's unfortunate that that's something that we can say was expected. But I think the writing's on the wall. We're tired of the same style of game releasing over and over and over again. And, Marathon just came out, which actually a lot of people have been enjoying, and I myself enjoyed it a little bit too. But, at the end of the day, it really is just that feeling of like, man, all these studios are being pushed to make a certain kind of game, and we know that they're capable of more. And it's what people want. People want fun single player experiences right now. That's the big thing. I think people are tired of the multiplayer games. There's definitely a place for multiplayer games. I mean, right now, I'm not really playing one too deeply, but I had downloaded Arc Raiders about a month ago, almost 2 months ago now, actually. Haven't really got too deep in it, but if I'm going to play a multiplayer game, that's the one I'm going to play. And Marathon is pretty much the same as Arc Raiders, but first person. It's from Bungie, and I will say, like, it feels good. It does feel good, but I think that we're just tired of these styles of games, man. Like, when I was playing it, I couldn't help but think, like, man, this reminds me so much of the shooting and the quality of shooting that's in Destiny. Because I played Destiny when it came out, and I'm like, man, why couldn't they make like a cool single player game using these awesome mechanics that Bungie has and the graphics quality? I mean, the game looks good. Um, I don't know. I guess everybody's just trying to get that big, heavy hitting multiplayer game that's going to be super successful for them and bring in buku bucks, and that's all they care about. But we can see that that's definitely hurting the industry a lot. And with Highguard shutting down only 45 days after launch, I mean, it sucks to say it, it's essentially Concord 2. And, Concord, notoriously shut down just a few days after launch, I think. It was very, very quick, and same thing with High Guard, except it lasted a little longer. But I think the writing's on the wall. We want single player games. We want fun experiences that are not designed to just take our money and take our time and pull us away from other games, and just all about engagement and all that BS. So but as far as the news regarding Sony and Xbox, so Xbox, since the last time we talked here, Xbox has a new CEO. I think her name is Ashara, something like that. Came from a whole new division, from AI. A lot of people are concerned. Of course, that's to be expected because she used to be the head of the AI division at Microsoft, and so that's kind of a scary thing to think that the head of AI is coming into the gaming side. And Xbox has been kind of tipping over and on the edge of dying for a while now. So I don't know, maybe they'll come back though, because now we have an announcement on the new hardware, and Xbox is doing it. They're doing the console PC hybrid. It's codenamed Project Helix, and it's essentially what it's supposed to be is a high-end premium Xbox console that also doubles as a PC. So you buy it, not only do you have an Xbox console, but you have a PC. You can play Steam on there and all your Steam games and PC games. Very cool idea, but of course, with everything going on right now with the RAM shortage and price hikes and all that, you can expect it to be pretty expensive. Probably easily going to be over $1,000. And then some news regarding PlayStation. The PS6, there's some sources out there that have been talking about the specs of like what's expected on the PS6 versus Project Helix. And of course, Project Helix is going to be a lot stronger. I think 25% stronger than PS6 is what I've been reading. Take that with a grain of salt. But I think that's okay because, PlayStation's always, their biggest focus has really been on the games, right? Like, and you can argue that the PS5 generation has been kind of lacking in the game side. You can also argue that it's actually not lacking, and there's a ton out there, because there absolutely is. But still, when it comes to games and when it comes to software and software exclusivity, PlayStation, of course, is going to win over Xbox all the time, especially because Xbox has been pushing this whole multi-platform thing. All their games are coming to PlayStation, which is great. I love that. And I've always been a fan of the idea that the PlayStation exclusives are coming to PC. However, PlayStation is going back on that as well. Going forward, PlayStation games will no longer double release on PlayStation and PC, which I think with the announcement of Project Helix, I think that is that makes a lot of sense. And the reason why I say that is because, it's one thing for the games to be accessible on PC. Project Helix is Xbox's next console. It's the next Xbox. So you're going to have PS6 versus Project Helix. And the idea that, let's say you can play a PlayStation exclusive like Spider-Man PS4, you could play that on PC now. Which means when Project Helix comes out, you can play that on an Xbox, because the new Xbox console is going to be a PC as well. So if Sony keeps releasing their games on PC, then once Project Helix is a reality and it's out, technically speaking, they're releasing it to be able to be played on Xbox as well. And when you think about it, that's not a bad idea, but I think from a hardware sales perspective, it's really going to be a tough argument of why would I spend $800 on a PS6? Look, I'm just assuming, right? I'm assuming that the PS6 is going to be roughly maybe $800, $900. It could be $1,000. We don't know. As of right now, it's so like up in the air on how the pricing is going to be. But I think it's safe to say that it'll be cheaper than Project Helix. But let's just assume that it's $800. You can spend $800 on the PS6 and pretty much only have access to what you have access to on a PlayStation, right? First-party titles for Sony and third-party titles. Or you could spend a couple hundred more dollars, maybe a few hundred more dollars. I don't know how much of a price difference it's going to be, but let's say it's $800 for a PS6 and $1,000 for a Project Helix. You could spend $1,000 or $200 more for a console that is more powerful, plays Xbox games, PC games, and pretty much going to play Sony games because Sony brings their games to PC. Even though there is a time restraint to that, right? A lot of PC players have to wait like over a year before they can get access to those PlayStation games. But I mean, with the amount of games out there, it's really not that bad. Like if you have a PC and you don't have a PlayStation right now, you haven't been able to play Death Stranding 2, but Death Stranding 2 is about to release on PC this month. And it released back in June, so if you think about it, it's just been under a year, and now on PC, you can play Death Stranding 2. So, it's kind of an interesting dynamic there where, players will now have to decide between a console that's a little more, limited versus one that does cost more, but has a lot more to offer. So I think it makes a lot of sense for Sony to pull back from the multi-platform thing because they still want their console to be enticing. And especially with the PS6 rumors and everything we've had on that, there's rumors that it's going to involve a handheld solution, like an actual native handheld, not like the PlayStation Portal, which is just a streaming handheld. But the PS6, I think, is going to have like a couple different iterations, one of them including a handheld, kind of like how Nintendo Switch is like a hybrid handheld console thing. That's all rumors and speculation. We don't really know what it's truly going to be, but if PlayStation is going to hold back on its exclusives and not put them on PC or Xbox, with them having a new handheld mode and a new console, it'll be all the more enticing to still stay in the PlayStation network and place it not like PSN, but I mean like the PlayStation ecosystem, and I don't know. I mean that's kind of my idea is like why they're doing it and why it makes sense like in terms of selling hardware. Of course, when you want to talk about like pro consumer and pro player, it would be amazing if all games were available everywhere, right? Like I'm really excited that Xbox games are coming to PlayStation. I've been playing Gears of War Reloaded. Awesome game. Finally can play it on a PlayStation and it's awesome. Avowed just came out on PlayStation. I haven't really been too big on Avowed since it came out, but it's one of those games that I thought, if it ever comes to PlayStation, I might check it out. Starfield is probably one of the bigger Xbox games. Well, there's Halo as well, but Halo Combat Evolved remake is coming to PlayStation. So that's been confirmed. We'll probably get more Halo titles to PlayStation, hopefully. But Starfield is one of those big games that's on Xbox only right now, or Xbox and PC, and it is going to probably come to PlayStation. So that's really exciting. So the idea of multi-platform is awesome, but it's also kind of cool to have like that ecosystem where you have only, like several unique games that you can only access here. Like there is kind of a value-added proposition to buying into the PlayStation ecosystem when that's the case. And I'm going to stop using the word ecosystem now, but I think you can get where I'm going at with that. So just some news there. As far as some games that I've been playing, I am almost finished with Expedition 33. I just got into Act 3. If you know, you know. It's nuts. This game is crazy. I did not expect it to go the direction it's going, and that's the most I'm going to say in that. It's still really, really fun. I'm kind of in a zone now where the combat's very difficult, but I'm starting to kind of learn how to take advantage of all the different mechanics and, go combat that, basically. So that's really fun. I just finished No More Heroes on Switch, the first game. It's really, really fun. I've been playing it since last year. I started it last year, played a little bit, and then I really got into it this year, and I finally finished it. Super fun game. I mean, what can I say? It's a boss rush with a little bit of a grind between bosses. Story's not too crazy. It's a very simple story, but it's charming. And the game just it's just fun to play, and I can't wait to jump into the second one and the third one, and some of the other games from the guys who made it, Suda51, Grasshopper. They just released Romeo is a Dead Man, which I've talked about before as being really anticipated for me. I haven't played it yet, but it did just release, and I definitely plan on playing it. So, that's pretty much it for the video. Oh, I want to give you a quick movie recommendation. I've watched quite a few movies since the last time I released one of these episodes, but the one I'm going to pick is Edge of Tomorrow. My wife and I just watched it last night. Super cool movie with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt. If you know what it's about, you know what it's about, but it's akin to Groundhog Day. And it has a very like video gamey feel to it, because it kind of makes me think about those games like Elden Ring or Dark Souls, or any game really, where like you keep trying and trying and trying and learning and learning and learning, and then you finally get to a new level and you're like, I don't know what's going to happen next. And that's definitely a big thing they touch on in the movie. That's about the most I'll say on it, but it's really, really good. Highly recommend watching it if you haven't. It's kind of an old movie now, but it's super cool. But anyways, this was another episode of A Little Mo Gaming, and as always, take care.